Do you want to learn how to ride a motorcycle better?
Yes. No.
Don't. All right, well, apparently not everybody wants to learn how to ride a motorcycle better. They should. And it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or you're super experienced. You should learn how to ride a motorcycle better. So these upcoming videos are going to be about little steps to make yourself a better, safer rider so you can come home and see your your great children. All right, guys, clutch control. This is kind of important. This is the basis of all motorcycling. It really doesn't have to do a whole lot with actually going down the road straight at high speeds or at normal speeds, but it has to do with even shifting between gears, and especially starting and stopping, and especially slow speed maneuvering. I have, the clutch right here. So some of you have automatics already. That's pretty cool, but we're going to talk about manual transmissions. So let me go ahead and start this up real quick so we can get some demonstration as well. Alright, so I have a clutch, and as you see, it's not just an on-off thing. It's not just here and then I want to go, I do that. That's absolutely a no-no. I mean, most people know this already, but what we don't know is this is like all the way out right here, and this is all the way in. There's lots of shades of gray, or lots of little increments within there that you could use. And so I know, since I've been riding this long enough, that like right here is right where the engine starts to dragging. I'm starting to be pulled forward, and I'm not really moving my clutch. You see that? And so right here is right where pretty much everything starts, okay? So anything less than that is really nothing until you get to that point right here. And at that point and on, this is what's called the gray zone. All this is the gray zone, okay? So everything we're going to talk about has to do with this clutch control. So again, slow speeds and things like that. So we have to really master how to use this clutch. Now, some people talk about using 2 fingers, and this is more of an off-road type skill, or if you want to do wheelies, this is probably more appropriate so you can actually hang on to the handlebars. It also kind of helps allow you to have a better grip of the handlebar. If you have your hand on the grip all together or around your clutch, you have a little bit better control of the clutch. So again, gray zone, right? So as you can see, I'm just going to use the gray zone. I'm not using any gas whatsoever, and it's just slowly pulling me forward. We do this all the time in the basic beginner course for motorcycle training, right? This is how you get to know your vehicle. So I'm not tall enough to show you this, but if you see the feet, what we do in the class is rotate back on this heel, and then we start letting off the clutch into the gray zone where the motorcycle pulls you forward. See, I didn't push this at all. I'm pulling it backwards with my body, but once I'm here, I allow the motorcycle to do the work. There's no sense in you pushing off. I don't know if you've ever seen people, what they'll do is they'll sit there and they'll start pushing their motorcycle forward, and then they'll let off the clutch, and then they'll go. Like, why do that? It's an engine. Let the motorcycle do it, right? So what we're going to do, what you should practice here, is kind of rotating on the back of your heels. This is the basic course right here. Rotating on the back of your heels, finding that gray zone, like right there. That's where it starts. If you could hear the engine, so the engine's normal. You hear it start dragging a little bit. I have my foot on the brake so you can hear that a little bit better. But the engine's starting to drag a little bit. It's still allowing that clutch to slip, but it's putting a little bit of power to that wheel. So right here's the gray zone. It pulls you forward onto your toes. Okay, and you pull the clutch all the way in. Again, you rotate back. You allow that clutch to go out just a little bit into this gray zone right here, and you go forward. Okay? So how can we use this for everyday riding, especially slow riding? Well, when you have to slowly start, okay, just let the motorcycle do everything. I didn't immediately let off, okay? So let's say I'm going to go out here and I'm going to ride on the sidewalk or something. I have to make this really sharp turn, okay? So let's say I have to make a really sharp turn. I pull the clutch in, I'm on the gray zone. I'm pulling it out, okay? I'm not all the way out on that clutch. Same thing here. Let's say we're going to go do some slow speed maneuvers, all right? So let's say I want to do a really sharp U-turn, which we'll get to in another video, okay? You can turn the handlebars all the way, and look, all I'm doing is letting the clutch out a little bit. It all has to do with clutch control. It's a very sturdy motorcycle just sitting there doing this. It's all clutch control. See, clutch is not all the way out. If clutch is all the way out, I'd have a really hard time keeping this really tight circle, okay? So it all has to do with clutch control. And see, look, I can show you how much clutch control it is. Listen to the engine. Okay, watch. Listen to the engine. I'm not really going a whole lot faster because I'm controlling it with my left hand, my clutch. Okay, so again, watch. I'm going to rev it up real high, and I'm just slowly. I'm just in the gray zone here. See, it's not doing anything. It's not doing anything unexpectedly. It's because it's all using the clutch. It's all using the clutch. So that's what makes this motorcycle very sturdy, is using this clutch control right here. I was never all the way fully extended. This is right where it starts again. This is, the first part of here is nothing. It should be like just the white zone. There's nothing going on right there. This right here is where it turns into that gray zone, or what's called the friction zone, is right here. And then if I go all the way out to here, probably just here or so, it's all the way out and actually completely engaged. So if I want to start riding a little bit, let me straighten up and go out down the street. If I want to get out all the way, I'm in gear right there completely. This last part, that's nothing. Okay, all the way out, that's engaged right there. Okay, so again, I'm gonna do a little UE. Use clutch control. Use clutch control. We'll talk about this. We'll do UEs. We'll do slow speed maneuvers with all this. It all has to do with clutch control. Get out and learn where your clutch is right here. Okay, know that you could go from a stop. And watch, I don't need any right hand whatsoever. I put it on top of my helmet. You see me on the video there. Go back to my hand. See, I'm just barely moving forward. Look, it's all clutch control. There's this really cool adventure practice thing where you've got to come up to a bar. You grab the bar. You slow down enough. Okay, you pull the clutch in a little bit to stop. You lift the bar up over the thing, and you got to make a circle with your clutch hand. And so it's all about just using clutch control. It's all it's about. See, look, the motorcycle is actually really stable for the most part. I am dragging the rear brake a little bit, okay? But we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But what I'm doing is I'm in that friction zone. I'm allowing the motorcycle to do the work. Because if I had my hand all the way off the clutch, it would be really hard to go like that. Let's see if I can. I mean, I may drop it out here in the parking lot. We'll see. So this is all the way out. This last part right here, that's nothing. Let's see if I can't. This is as slow as this motorcycle's going. And if I try to do the brake, this thing starts getting jumpy and choppy. You see that? Okay, so let's do it again, but now with clutch control. So look, again, no hand on the gas whatsoever. I can even get tighter and tighter and tighter. It all has to do with, hey Sam, it all has to do with clutch control. So we'll talk about this more. This is super important. You need to practice this. You need to build these forearm muscles right here, because this is what it's all about. And that's lesson 1 right there. All right, so let's talk about practicing this technique. The technique, again, is using this clutch control in this gray zone. So not here and not all the way out, obviously, right? Let me put it in neutral. So not here where it doesn't do anything, and not down here where it doesn't do anything. It's right here in this gray zone, okay? So what's the couple things we can do? One is we could do what they do in the MSF course, okay? And you're not really using your gas. What you're doing is you're rocking back on your heel. You see that? Rocking back on your heel, and you're allowing this motorcycle on the gray zone right here, in the gray zone, to slowly pull you forward till you get to your toes and you stop. You press on the brakes at that point in time. Okay, roll back onto your heel again. Okay, on your heel, let off the brake, allow that to go to the gray zone very slowly, very gradually to your toes. Boom. Okay, when you get this one, then I say you can start going in a straight line. You can kind of waddle the motorcycle. Now you don't want to waddle in real life. We'll show you how not to waddle to get your bike around, because that kind of looks silly and it looks like you're still an amateur, but it's okay. We'll work on that. So waddle your motorcycle. I'm really short, so it's really hard to waddle this motorcycle. But what you're doing is, all I'm doing is look at my hand. My hand, I'm doing lots of clutch control. I'm not really using my gas whatsoever, and I'm just slowly moving the motorcycle forward. And I'm just feeling where the motorcycle is. If it's going too fast, pull it in like a micrometer, okay? And then make it slow down. And then if you go faster, then go out a little bit more. Now, another exercise you can do is you kind of combine those two. So that was step 1, is rocking it back. Step 2 is where you kind of just both hands on the wheel and kind of waddle it, okay? Step 3 is if you're confident in doing this, and let's say, here's step 3. So step 3 is putting your feet up on the pegs at that slow speed, kind of balancing. You got to have a little bit of balance and trying to stay in this gray zone. A little slower, a little faster, a little slower. Okay, you got to use a little brake because you're going to just continue going. Okay, that's step 3. All right, let's talk about the final step 4 that you could practice all this stuff in before we go on to more advanced type skills. Step 4 is going to be this. You need to do this in a very safe environment, a large open parking lot. But what you can do is you put your hand on your tank, okay? And instead of controlling the motorcycle over here on your right handlebar and your left handlebar, just do your left handlebar where your clutch is. What you do is you just start letting it out, clutch control. Again, you don't have that little comfort of reaching over. When you get fast enough, put your feet up, okay? And then use that clutch control. Don't use that gas. You can make this a little bit more difficult, and we may have to talk about this one before you get into this one, but you can make large circles, okay? Again, you can make large circles with no hand on the steering wheel, okay? Large circles. I don't want you to do tight ones yet, okay? See, I'm using my pinky over here on my left hand to kind of grip the handlebars a little bit better. You can do 2 fingers. So, but all you're doing is you're just making sure that motorcycle doesn't have a lot of speed, and you're doing that clutch just enough to keep it stable and upright. This should be a really good practice. And if you want, you could try switching sides, because right now you're used to going right. Well, let's see if we can go left, because left is a different thing. Your arm is extended going right. Let's go left. It comes towards you. So you got to kind of practice that a little bit too, okay? I had to do a little bit of brake because I'm going to speed up going slightly downhill here. Okay, big circles going left. And now your hand is really near you, and you got to really sit there and focus on that hand. It's a different angle, okay? All right, that's step 1, clutch control. More to come. We'll talk about slow speed maneuvers. We'll talk about doing some really nice tight U-turns. Okay, we'll talk about circles like this. Again, it's all clutch control. We'll get into everything here, okay? We'll even get into some really cool, fun drills that we can do. All right, till next time. All right, guys, stay tuned for video number 2. We're going to use that clutch control, and we're going to start using how to drag a rear brake during slow maneuver skills. So next is U-turns. Woohoo! Get ready.